I remember once being music director of a church where the congregation wasn't really singing. And it was a big church. We had over 1,000 people on a Sunday morning. But the congregation wasn't singing out loud. And I started to wonder why this was. I was new to the job. And I noticed that there was a large curtain behind the stage, behind the platform. It went all the way across the hall. And I started to wonder if the sound of the congregation was being absorbed in the curtain and they weren't hearing themselves. So we took the curtain down. And suddenly the congregation could hear their voices bouncing off the wall at the front of the church, and they started to sing. And they sang majestically and loudly. So sometimes the reason a congregation isn't involved is purely a practical matter. Maybe it's just an acoustic matter. But in our contemporary churches, maybe it's because the band is too loud. Because if you can't hear yourself, if all you can hear is yourself and the band, you're unlikely to put much effort into it. You're likely to hold back. But if you can hear all the voices around you, you're likely to sing out. And this is particularly true of men. Men generally don't sing in settings like that. Men sing at football games, at rugby matches. I was going to say cricket games, but that's me British, and they don't really sing at cricket games. But men sing in communities where they can hear each other sing, and they don't have any inhibitions to do so. And so turning the band down and allowing the congregation to hear each other is one serious way to get the congregation to sing. The other thing is that we sing songs that aren't intended for congregational worship. So we hear a good Christian song on the radio and we think, that's a great song, let's sing that in church. The problem is it was sung by Chris Tomlin, and the guy is talented, and I'm picking on him, but it could be any of them, and they've got a vocal range that exceeds almost anyone else's. They can sing from very low to very high and everything in between. They can sing complicated melodic structures. They can handle complicated rhythms. The congregation can't do that. And so we throw these songs out at them and they don't last. And so the songs, we sing them for a week or two, and then they fall into disuse. And then we're forever introducing newer songs, and new song follows new song follows new song, and we don't memorize them, we don't learn them. And then even if there was a rich theological tradition, teaching in the song, we've lost it because we don't remember the song. We need to sing songs that are simple, have great theology, are in a range that the congregation can sing. That's to say more or less from C to C, with maybe a D thrown in there, E if you absolutely must, but not for very long. And the other problem is that a lot of these songs are sung following on from male worship leaders. And male worship leaders can sing higher. The voice goes relatively higher than the average female voice. And so when you're singing at the edge of your range, you are satisfied, it's great, it's fantastic, you sound like $1 million, you're the worship leader, you're singing way high at top, you sound like your Ferrari voice is going out into the room. Meanwhile, the congregation is struggling, and they're not driving Ferraris, and they're struggling to keep up with you. They're struggling to sing at that pitch. And so the women drop down the octave and they sing low. And it's a very practical and easy to fix reason as to why congregations are not often involved in singing. And I sometimes look around at congregations and I think, why is no one singing? There's like 400 people here, and the men are standing with their hands in their pockets, and the women are trying to sing, but they're grumbling down at the bottom of their range. And often that's the reason. We need to sing simple songs that are in the correct key for people to sing, and they must be rich in theology so that they teach us and so that we have things to remember and to hang on to when we leave the building.